Okay, so there's a genocide in Darfur. For anyone who doesn't know what a genocide is, if you've heard of the Holocaust from World War II, where all of the Jews were killed, that is a genocide. So if anybody doesn't know, I guess I could clarify more. But okay, so Darfur is located in Sudan, on the western side of Sudan, and Sudan, as you can see on the map, is located in eastern Africa near the Red Sea. And Darfur is made up of 3 separate states, so people call it a country, but it's really a region. It's made up of northern Darfur, western Darfur, and southern Darfur. They have fancy other language names, but I can't say them, so I'm not going to try. It is roughly the size of France or Texas, and Sudan is the biggest country in Africa, so it kind of gives you an idea of the size that we're dealing with. It's a lot bigger than Iowa. And it was home to about 6 million people. I say was because, well, there aren't 6 million people there anymore. And it relies on the capital of Sudan, Khartoum. As you can see, it's kind of in the middle, in the big letters, you know. And that has an Islamic-oriented government that runs that. Okay, some background information is that there are 2 main groups of people that live in Darfur. There are the Black Africans, quote unquote, and the Arab Africans, quote unquote. Now, I say that because the labels African and Arab are really misleading, as all of the people in Darfur have black skin, all of them practice Islam, all of them speak Arabic. So a better classification would be calling them herders and farmers, and it just so happens that the herders claim Arab descent and farmers claim African descent. Okay. And there have always been tensions between them, because they're always competing for land, the herders and the farmers, who's going to get more land. But traditionally, all these problems have been settled, non-violently through their tribal laws and everything. But recently, desertification and really big droughts have caused tensions to grow even more. And beginning in the 1980s, more conflicts began, but full-scale war never actually broke out, but tensions, got really tight. So then in 2003, there was a catalyst that kind of started it off. There's a group that called itself the Sudan Liberation Army Movement, and it attacked an airport in northern Darfur. And they kidnapped a general and killed 75 people and shot up 4 airplanes and stuff. So that was kind of what started the whole thing. And the rebel group consisted of African, quote-unquote, farmers. Why did they revolt? Well, they were kind of sick and tired of being ignored. The people in Darfur felt like the government in Khartoum was just, completely ignoring them and not helping them out, and they were being neglected. So they, needed help with that. There was also a conflict between northern Sudan and southern Sudan, where there are lots of Christians in southern Sudan, and the Islamic-based government in Khartoum was kind of, not meshing very well. So the government was funding all these different Muslim militias down there, and they kind of transpired up to Darfur, and so Darfur felt like Khartoum was, favoring the herders. There was some tension there, and they didn't want to get left out of future peace treaties. Now, I don't think that the rebel group should have acted like they did, but after you get ignored for so long, it just doesn't work. Kind of like when you're sitting in class and you're raising your hand, and teachers don't need to do anything, to talk to you, so you yell, and then you get detention because you yell. Yeah, it sucks. So that's kind of what they did there. It wasn't the best idea, but people actually do something. So basically, the government responded with saying, destroy the rebellion, eliminate the rebellion, I guess is the exact quote. And he called upon the Janjaweed, which were the groups that al-Bashir, the president in Khartoum, sorry. So he funded these Janjaweed, the Arab militias. And Janjaweed means devil on horseback. And it was basically groups of convicts and herder tribes that decided that they were going to take out the African farmers in Darfur because they wanted their land. So basically, the attacks spread from just the rebellion to all the different tribes and all the different little villages that were going to, aid to the rebellion. Whether they actually did or not, they were kind of supposed to be helping them out with that. It should also be noted, if you want to, next, yeah, and then next, yeah, sorry, yeah, there you go. It should also be noted that the rebellion troops, or the rebel groups are kind of attacking the Janjaweed groups now, retaliation, we don't want you guys doing this to us. But it should be stated that the Janjaweed have done much more damage because they're supported by the government. And upwards of 200,000 people, some people say 400,000, estimates are around the 300,000 range. People have died so far, either directly from the fighting or from malnutrition and preventable diseases caused by that. So basically how the genocide works. First, Sudanese aircraft, which are painted white, the same color as UN humanitarian aircraft, which is illegal, by the way, for international law. They fly over villages and lure all the villagers out, and then they bomb them and shoot them. These are pictures of a village before it was bombed and after it was bombed. You can see kind of the destruction that goes on. After the planes fly over and bomb, the Janjaweed come in, and they're usually with the government troops, which is horrible. And they come in on their horses and camels and different vehicles with their machetes and grenade launchers and automatic weapons. And then the men and the boys are dragged from their homes and shot. When the women are raped, there were 41 cases of rape in one village. There was one girl who said that she was raped in front of her father, and then he was shot before her eyes. And they're not just raped by the Janjaweed, the government people take part in that as well. And then the village is basically pillaged, the livestock is stolen, the buildings are destroyed, the crops are taken, burned, everything. And the survivors try and get away so that they won't be there the next week when the Janjaweed and the government returns to kill any of the survivors. Is it really genocide, and does that really matter? Sadly, it does. The Genocide Convention defined genocide as acts committed with intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a national, ethnical, racial, or religious group. The situation in Darfur would fall under the ethnical categories, so by this definition, it is definitely a genocide. Now, many people will disagree with that and say that the United States is only calling it a genocide so that we can go in there and take the oil that Sudan has. I would like to think that this is not true, and that, we actually have kind of a heart, but some people disagree with that. Other people say that the situation in Darfur, remember, resembles the beginning of the situation in Rwanda, which was named a genocide after the fact, in which 800,000 people were killed. Do we really want to wait for 800,000 people to be killed before we do something? Should title really matter that much?